You're watching CBS7 News at 9 on the CW and live on the CBS7 YouTube channel with Alexandra Macia and Tom Tieferteller.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us here for CBS7 News at 9 on the CW. And as you heard, also live on our CBS7 YouTube page, I'm Jay Hendricks in for Alexandra Macia. Midland ISD announcing this afternoon that Scott McCowan has been promoted to serve as the district's next chief of police. According to MISD, Chief McCowan brings in 30 years of law enforcement experience, including 23 years within a school district. Police Department. MISD had appointed McCowan as the interim chief last week after Carlos Ortiz stepped down from the position. The group Young Professionals of Midland is making a comeback. The revamp is in the early stages, but is now headed by the Midland Chamber of Commerce. Chamber says it will help young professionals lay down roots in Midland, which they say improves their quality of life. The revamp comes after Chamber members, employers, and employees ask for a resource to connect young professionals together. The group will feature speakers, also have service opportunities and networking. Chief Operating Officer Evan Thomas knows the value because he participated in the Young Professionals programs.
And there are people that I met 8-9 years ago and longer that are still part of my important network of associates and friends throughout this community. So, and we've all come up in our careers together.
Those close relationships and opportunities will create a strong connection between that person and Midland that can also improve their life, but also retain professionals in the local workforce. The Midland Victims Coalition hosted a walk for domestic violence awareness today at Wadley Barron Park. People who attended the event wore purple to bring awareness to domestic violence. I was there as well for the event. There was a short ceremony that included domestic violence victims. The victims sharing their stories to the community about violence they faced at home. Event organizers say it's important for people to hear these stories.
No, we just encourage the community to come out and join us every year, because the more we can reach, then the better we are at ending the cycle of abuse.
According to statistics, nearly 20 people per minute are physically abused by their partner in the United States. If you're needing help, you can contact the Midland Victims Coalition to learn more about their resources. It's a fear for every pet owner losing your furry friend. October is World Animal Month, and to celebrate, the Odessa Animal Shelter is offering microchips for your pet at just $5. You can microchip your dog or cat with the Odessa Animal Shelter as long as they are at least 2 months old. Microchips are important to have for your pet because if it is found, it can be identified and returned to the owner.
The microchipping, it's just to make sure it's registered within your animal. It's just like a shot. It'll be implanted between their shoulder blades. It'll have their contact information, name, phone number, email address, their address,
The shelter recommends updating your microchip if you change your address or phone number, or if you give away your animal, update the information to reflect the new owner. To change this information, you can call the microchip company, or you can get, if you get the microchip from the Odessa Animal Shelter, they can change it all for you. Again, this deal for $5 for microchipping lasts through all of October. City of Odessa hosting its last fall cleanup of the year tomorrow. Odessa Solid Waste will have a bulk item drop-off for residents tomorrow morning. You're encouraged to drop off some bigger items such as couches, refrigerators, washer and dryers, tables, and more. This will help with an issue that the Solid Waste Division has been seeing.
I mean, if we're going to tell people to stop illegal dumping and don't put it in alleys, we got to provide the resources, for the residents to be able to dispose of all this stuff. So that's what this is. So we also have our citizen collection station right here off of 42nd and Golder. If you're a resident of the city, you can bring your stuff year round.
The event will be held at Floyd Gwynn Park from 8 a.m. to noon. The solid waste team will be there ready to help in case anyone needs help. If you want more information on the items that you can or cannot drop off, visit our website at CBS7.com. Time now to take a look at your weather forecast as we move into the weekend. Chief Meteorologist Tom Tieferteller joins us. Let us know about some cool weather headed our way. Tom?
Well, we enjoyed a fantastic day out there behind this glass cold front that rolled through. Temperatures only around 80 degrees after starting off this morning into the lower 50s, and it looks like more of that's in the forecast coming up tomorrow. And here's the reason why. Later on tonight, we're expecting a cold front to start to whip through the Lubbock area and into parts of the northern Permian Basin by 9-10 o'clock. That front's going to make its way down into the Permian Basin by 1-2 in the morning. Behind it, we're going to be looking at gusty winds upwards to 26 to 30 miles an hour. And even though we had some rain, we have to watch out for a little area of blowing dust or two into the early morning hours. But those winds should start to calm down as that front starts to make its way all the way into the lower Trans-Pecos by the mid-morning hours. So cooler air will filter in behind this. Looking at some great conditions again coming up for your weekend.
A Houston area father arrested this week in connection with the fentanyl poisoning death of his underage son. According to prosecutors, Emilio Dominguez Sr., 36, smoked marijuana with his 13-year-old son and then gave him a fentanyl-laced pill at the family's Baytown home back in August. Someone else in the home raised concern about the boy.
A person in the house told the defendant, you might want to get this kid some help and he has to go to the hospital. And the defendant says, oh, well, he'll just sleep it off. He'll be fine.
The boy was found dead the next day. His cause of death was later ruled as fentanyl poisoning. Dominguez was arrested on Wednesday and charged with injury to a child by omission. At a hearing on Friday, prosecutors asked for a $500,000 bond based on Dominguez's criminal history, including drug and weapons charges. The judge set a $150,000 bond and ordered Dominguez to stay away from anyone under the age of 17, including his own children. Supreme Court Justice Samuel Alito on Friday froze a lower court ruling that blocked the registration of ghost guns. Alito's decision follows an earlier controversial ruling from a district court judge in Texas. Yesterday, the Biden administration filed an emergency application seeking Supreme Court justices to once again allow the government to regulate ghost guns. The White House argued that the district court judge had essentially revoked an order that the U.S. High Court issued just 2 months ago. Alito's administrative stay will expire on October 16th. Ghost guns are kits that a user can buy online to assemble a functional firearm with no serial numbers and without a background check. Current regulations do not prohibit the sale or possession of any ghost gun kit. The battle to beat the next Speaker of the House is gaining steam on Capitol Hill. Former President Donald Trump throwing his support to Ohio's Jim Jordan, but it's not clear if either candidate has the votes to take the gavel. CBS News correspondent Willie James Inman reports from Washington.
The House Speaker job remains vacant after hardline Republicans and Democrats forced Kevin McCarthy out this week. But the battle to take his place is heating up. Republicans Jim Jordan of Ohio and House Majority Whip Steve Scalise of Louisiana have announced they're running for the position. Former Vice President Mike Pence spoke about the turn of events.
Well, I think a great deal of Steve Scalise, Jim Jordan. There are a number of leaders in the Congress that would do an outstanding job.
Former President Donald Trump endorsed Jordan, a longtime close ally. While at the White House, President Biden commented on the House Speaker race.
There's some people I imagine it's going to be easier to work with than others, but whoever the speaker is, I'll try to work with.
All I'm saying is we need to unite the conference. I think I can do that.
Jordan is the founder of the Conservative Freedom Caucus and a leader of the Biden impeachment inquiry. Scalise is currently fighting blood cancer, but cleared to run by his doctors. McCarthy, meanwhile, said he plans to finish his House term, denying media reports to the contrary.
I'm still here finishing my job, all right?
You thinking about running for re-election?
Yes.
McCarthy came under fire from right-flank Republicans and was pushed out of the House Speaker job after he relied on Democrats to avoid a government shutdown last weekend. Willie James Inman, CBS News, Washington.
McCarthy has served in the House since 2007, but was booted from the House Speaker job after less than 9 months. U.S. drug maker Moderna plans to begin late-stage trials of its dual COVID flu vaccine in adults 50 years and older later this year. The development comes after the company says early-stage trials of the shot show the combined dose appears to elicit strong immune responses against both influenza and COVID-19. The drug maker says the combo, called mRNA 1083 is also as effective as separate shots and safe.
We know that sometimes having to return more than once to get vaccines are not really always an option for most people. And let's face it, nobody wants to get shot more than once. So if we can combine two vaccines into one around the same time with the same seasonality, that's going to be a win in terms of public health.
Moderna hopes to have regulatory approval for the new shot by 2025. At a time when thousands of nurses are on strike to protest staffing shortages, many nursing schools are not able to accept hundreds of new students. The reason? Not only is there a shortage of nurses in clinical settings, there is also a problem with having enough nursing professors to teach them. According to the American Association of Colleges of Nurses, more than 78,000 qualified applicants were turned away last year alone. Even in schools that have enough nursing faculty members, there are not enough clinical placements for existing students. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services is pumping more than $26 million into an effort to train more nursing faculty to help address that problem. There is a nationwide recall alert. The popular sour rolling candies are being recalled due to a choking hazard. Candy Dynamics is recalling 70 million units of its 2-ounce to 3-ounce rolling liquid candies. The flavors are blue raz, strawberry, sour apple, and black cherry. These candies were sold from June of 2015 to July of this year. Also, Cocoa Candy and KGR Distribution have recalled nearly 146,000 units of their Cocoa Candy rolling candy. In April, the CPSC received a report of a 7-year-old girl in New York who choked and died. It happened after the rolling ball unhooked and was stuck in her throat. Candy Dynamics will give a full refund to any product that still has candy inside. Still ahead, a major breakthrough supposedly in the United Auto Workers Union strike. We have the latest for you up next. The United Auto Workers Union strike against the nation's biggest automakers is moving now into its 4th week. As it does, the union president says there has been a major breakthrough in talks with GM, big enough that he says the union won't expand its strike as planned. Emily Schmidt has more on the developments and how much closer it may mean the sides are to reaching a deal.
Friday's United Auto Workers Union live stream began late and with a bang.
We have had a major breakthrough that has not only dramatically changed negotiations, but it's going to change the future of our union and the future of our industry.
Union President Shawn Fain says GM agreed in writing to cover future EV battery plant workers by the same labor agreement covering other GM union members, which the union considers critical in an evolving industry.
If they were to close an engine facility, where would those workers go if not to the new technology, which is batteries?
We are making significant progress. In just 3 weeks, we have moved these companies further than anyone thought was possible.
Fain says Ford's wage raise offers jumped from 9% to 23% during the strike, with GM and Stellantis offers around 20% over the 4-year contract, all less than the union wants.
We gotta stand up and come out.
More than 25,000 auto workers are on the picket line, getting $500 a week in strike benefits instead of a paycheck. The Anderson Economic Group estimates the strike cost the economy nearly $4 billion in its first 2 weeks. GM and Ford laid off nearly 900 workers this week.
I think we're at a point where it's a lose-lose. Now it's just a matter of how much does everybody want to lose.
Fain said Friday things are moving fast, though he did not say if an end is in sight. I'm Emily Schmidt reporting.
Big changes coming up in our forecast thanks to a cold front arriving overnight tonight. We'll get you updated on all that coming up next.
Now, from the CBS7 First Alert Weather Center, here's Chief Meteorologist Tom Tiefertiller.
Well, some bigger changes are on the way as a cold front arrives overnight tonight. Here's the setup in the upper levels of the atmosphere. This is looking at moisture up around 18,000 feet in the atmosphere, and it's showing two significant things. The first is that we have this northwest to southeast flow rounding this big trough of low pressure is now moving into the eastern U.S. That's what swung that one cold front through a couple of days ago, and it looks like another one will be arriving overnight tonight, early into the morning hours. Also, you note that we are seeing mid to high level clouds, a lot of Pacific moisture rolling in, as we do have a couple of tropical systems developing across the eastern Pacific just off the coast of Mexico. Well, mid to high level clouds are really starting to stream in with that and move off to the north and northeast. So we are going to be looking at that continuing in our forecast with some mid to high level cloudiness. That's where we saw today across most areas and seen this evening. Most of the showers, though, well, we did have a couple near near Big Bend National Park, but for the most part, though, a lot of it was down across portions of South Texas where they're really covered up with the clouds right now. We're kind of on the fringe of that, and with that front coming down again, just some mid to high level clouds, not expecting any rain with this next system. Temperatures across the state, big improvement behind that front, mid to upper 80s, about 79 in Amarillo before that front whipped through, and starting to cool things down already across the Texas Panhandle. Now, as we take a look at the futurecast winds, expecting this front really to barrel through and down to the south and southeast this evening and into the Permian Basin. It looks like around 1, 2 in the morning, so don't be surprised to hear the winds rattling a little bit. Windows, I should say, as we'll see gusts upwards to 30 miles an hour. Can't rule out some areas of blowing dust, and then that front will move down into the Trans-Pecos and into the mountain areas, and those winds will slowly calm down behind the front throughout the day. The rest of tonight, again, chilly conditions on the way as we'll see temperatures drop down into the lower 50s with some gusty east to northeast winds that'll come around to the east a little bit more tomorrow. But look at those great temperatures, though. Just some high clouds, 73 degrees on the way for Midland and Odessa. And your CBS 7 First Alert exclusive 10-day.
Taylor Swift is fixing the economy on accident. We'll tell you how she has boosted 3 separate industries up next. Taylor Swift's economic impact is growing and spreading to movie theaters and the sports world. Cinemark is hoping that Swift will boost movie theaters with its latest announcement as the NFL gets a bump from the singer's reported new beau. In today's Consumer Watch, Cole Higgins has a look at how Swift and Beyonce are boosting the U.S. economy.
From the Eras Tour to movie screens across the country and now to the NFL world, Taylor Swift is boosting the U.S. economy, with some analysts coining the effect Swiftonomics.
I've been writing about Swiftonomics for
almost a year now, ever since she announced the Eras Tour, and it seems like there's always something new to say.
This week, Cinemark announcing ticket sales for Swift's 3-hour concert film are setting pre-sale records. Beyonce plans to do the same with her Renaissance World Tour, as both stars position themselves to pull movie theaters out of writer's strike doldrums. And analysts say, as eager fans spend money to see both stars, it's highlighting women's economic impact.
When you think about the impact of Beyonce and Taylor Swift both, every city they go to is seeing an economic bump because women are staying in hotels. Remote working is allowing that. They're going to the hair salon. They're buying outfits on Amazon or wherever to get together.
The Eras Tour alone could be considered a $5 billion GDP type tour. That's according to Sanjay Sharma, adjunct professor of finance at the University of Southern California, who says adding it all up is hard, but says the money stays in the U.S. and supports local economies.
It's a new phenomenon. It's not even compared. Super Bowl doesn't compare to this.
Meanwhile, Swift's rumored new relationship with NFL star Travis Kelce is breaking NFL viewership records and generating lots of buzz as the Taylor Swift effect spreads to football.
Now it's NFL sales, it's a jersey sale. So it seems like at the end of the day, the big winner here is the U.S. economy and consumer spending.
For Consumer Watch, I'm Cole Higgins.
Well, we are going to be looking at some big changes with this front rolling in overnight tonight. And again, that's going to make for a great start to your weekend with temperatures only around 73 across the Permian Basin tomorrow. Those nighttime lows are fantastic, starting off around the lower 50s in the morning. And that's going to continue to be the case all the way through the weekend into the early part of next week. Then we start a slow warm up in our forecast as we'll see those readings into the mid to upper 80s, nearing 90 plus coming up on Wednesday for parts of West Texas, all before the next cold front arrives and brings some nice fall changes to our forecast. Looking pretty good for the Ring of Fire solar eclipse coming up next Saturday.
Before we go, check this out. The Blue Angels air show soared over the skies of San Francisco Bay this afternoon, kicking off the air portion of San Francisco's Fleet Week. The Blue Angels are the star attraction of the yearly San Francisco Fleet Week air shows that are held Friday through Sunday. This, by the way, has been going on since 1981 and is an integral part of the city's local culture. Was started under the former mayor, Dianne Feinstein. Thanks for joining us here at 9 on the CW. More news coming up tonight at 10. We'll see you then.